Yes. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to the second and last live session for this course, User-Centric Computing for Human-Computer Interaction. As I just mentioned, this is going to be the last live session. So if you have any queries, any doubt related to the course, please feel free and come forward to discuss with me all your queries and doubts. I would like to emphasize that this is not going to be a lecture session. So I am not going to take any live lecture. So please don't wait for my lecture. This is primarily an interactive session to understand from your point of view what are the issues you faced. If you are still having any doubts, if you require any clarification anywhere related to the contents covered in the course. So I'll be waiting for that interaction. I will be waiting for your input. And I am not going to deliver any lecture as such in this course, in this live session. So please come forward, raise your queries if you have any, so that I can respond to those. You can type in your queries or you can directly talk to me through the links provided. Okay, I still don't see any query. So if any of the learners are here, I request again, please come forward and post your queries. Meanwhile, I received some queries related to the course. I would like to give clarification on those. Let me just pull those out. Yes, so these are from Dr. Soman Kumar Roy. If you are here, so you have posted two queries. Finding difficulties in getting clear-cut understanding on formal system models. Not get clear idea, give some common examples. And second is user-centric design evaluation. Take one application, maybe MS Office Words as example, as case study for the user-centric design evaluation. Okay, so as I understand, you are having difficulty understanding these concepts. One is formal system models, another one is design evaluation. Now, let me go one by one. So in case of formal system models, so as I explained in the lecture, these are basically formal approaches to modeling. That means we will represent the system in terms of states and transitions between them, and there are different formalisms used. Now, common examples are already given in the lectures, like push button systems, which employ interactions. Those are the simplest of such interactive systems. And then this word processor system, where I can change the text on the screen. And if I take a very small portion of the word processor system, that is a single letter I am changing on the screen with different fonts, different colors, different size, then how things look, that example has been given. So that should be taken as a as example of common systems. Word processors are very common, as you have mentioned in your next question, MS Office Words. So that is nothing but a word processor system. And in that system, we change text either by changing font or by changing size or by changing color or by changing position. So there are many things. And as you can understand, we have taken a simple portion of an interactive system to illustrate the idea, because in case of full system like MS Word, the number of states will be very high, and that will not be, it will not be possible to actually explain that in this limited lecture timing. So that is a full-fledged complex explanation. It will require a full-fledged complex explanation. So to keep things simple, we have taken a simple case study. So for example, as you have seen, in case of a word processor, if I want to change one letter, as mentioned, or considering only the font color, size, and letter itself, there are 400 plus states. And if I want to draw the transition between states, which happens due to interaction with the system, that is either by using mouse or by touch something, then you can understand how the overall state transition diagram looks. Now, if I consider position, if I consider many other features that are supported by MS Office, MS Words, then you can understand the number of states will increase exponentially. And then we require formalism to represent it, to specify it, rather than trying to draw a diagram as in the example. but that is rather complex, as you can understand. Essentially, at a broad level, what I can say is that these are used to model dialogues, that is interaction between user and system, and during this interaction, whatever changes happen on the system side, those are captured in the form of states, and then the interactions are basically triggers to transition from one state to another, and those are captured in the formal representation of dialogues. However, what I would like to say is that formal system models are still primarily used in academic domain. In practical applications, their usage is limited because of the complexity involved. So mostly we can think of them as of academic interest rather than interest to developers. Most of the real life interactive systems are very complex to specify, understand, and work with through formal modeling mechanisms. So essentially, those are primarily of academic interest rather than interest to developers. That is about the first part. In the second part, the question that you have raised is about evaluation. Now, take one application as example. So, I think in the lecture, examples are provided. Let me just check what kind of examples are provided. And based on that, I can do the next thing. Okay, now this so already you can see here that in case of expert evaluation, we have used one example, that is the calendar application. That is a simple interactive system example. And I want to basically evaluate the usability of this application. So in that case, how do I proceed with expert evaluation? So I hope you understood that example. So the idea is that whether you take MS Word or this calendar application, the idea is that when we are evaluating based on usability concerns. Now, these usability concerns can be evaluated only if we take into account the users, the human factors. Now, one way to do that is basically to perform tasks, to let the user or ask the user perform tasks, and from those tasks we try to understand some aspects of human behavior. Say, for example, in case of cognitive walkthrough, what will be evaluated is basically whether the users are able to understand the system, use the system, retain the system knowledge, that is memorability, learnability, all these things. Not directly, but in an indirect manner through these tasks. Now, in case of cognitive walkthrough based evaluation of an interactive system, we will first build a prototype. Say, if you are comfortable with MS Word example, let us take this as our case study. So in case of MS Word, we want to know whether the system is usable. That means whether the user is able to use the system in the sense that it is learnable, memorable, and so on, the 5 metrics of usability. Now we'll first build a prototype of this system. Since we are using cognitive walkthrough, so we require at least a vertical prototype. Now, of course, MS Word is a very complex system. It has hundreds of features. All these features we need to evaluate certainly, but when we are talking of expert evaluation, we don't evaluate the whole system. The idea is that we are evaluating it at the early stage of design rather than after the whole system is developed. So it is not necessary that we evaluate each and every feature, interactive feature of the system. Instead, what is more important is we evaluate the most commonly or likely to be most commonly used features of the system. That requires some idea of which features are likely to be most commonly used. So in this case, since MS Words is primarily meant to be a word processing software, so maybe the selection of a piece of text or replacing piece of text or changing the color of a portion of the text, these may be more commonly used as compared to some other features. So one or two of such likely to be most commonly used features we choose, and then we employ a group of evaluators to perform the tasks with the prototype, as explained in the lecture. And based on the response of the evaluators captured through a questionnaire, we try to judge the usability of the system. So that is typical approach. But as mentioned in the lecture, there are different evaluation techniques. Expert evaluation is only one. Then we have other evaluation techniques as well. So I hope this explanation gives you some idea of how the evaluation techniques are used. I suggest that you go through the lectures again. There are already examples used, so you try to map those examples to your example, but keep in mind that to keep it simple, I have used simple examples, but if you are talking of practical systems like MS Office Words, so it comes with hundreds of features, interactive features, and we need to evaluate all, but not all evaluation techniques are used to evaluate all features. If we are trying to use expert evaluation techniques, then only the most likely to be used features, very few, one or two, will be evaluated at the earliest stage to get an idea of the usability of the design. But in a later stage, in the empirical evaluation stage, maybe many other features may be used for evaluation purpose. Okay, there is one more request. You are requested to please provide all the lecture PPTs. Yes, unfortunately, I cannot provide the lecture PPTs due to certain reasons, but there are transcripts already available, which are not same as lecture PPTs. So you can make use of those transcripts. There is not much difference between lecture PPTs and the transcripts. You can make use of those transcripts instead of lecture PPTs. Okay, so if anyone is watching, please post your queries. If I don't get any further queries, then I think we can go for ending the session. Please note that this is going to be the last live session, so you will not get any further opportunity to interact and raise your queries. Maybe I will wait for another 5 minutes. By that time, if I don't get any further query, then we will close it. Okay, so I think there are no further queries. So in that case, I would like to close the session. So before I close, I would just like to say that uh, this is the last live session, so you will not get any further opportunity to interact. However, if you have queries, you can contact the NPTEL team through which they can forward your queries to me, or you can directly drop me a mail. So I will try to respond as soon as possible. I hope you have enjoyed the course and you were able to follow the topics. I wish you all the best in your further learning and all the best for the exams, for those who have registered for the exams. So goodbye, and we are going to close this session for today. Okay, so I would like to request the NPTEL team member to close the session.